on the brink. Everything gives me the shivers, makes me think there's so much stuff to sing. And you and me will be singing it like the birds. Me the music and you the words. Tell them things they don't know. Up to us, pal, the shore. It's our time, breathing in. Worlds to change and worlds to win. Our time coming through. Me and you, pal, me and you. Me and you, me and you, me and you.
Thank you, Dan. That was wonderful. One of the things, the reason, and I know it's hard to hear some of the songs, but Terry loved Sondheim and was incredibly moved by him, and actually was somewhat, not surprisingly, but just was very moved and affected by his death. And that was something that I didn't always know about her, and she was more honest with me in the days that she was struggling, and that was nice to hear, because Sondheim, we all love Sondheim. Surprisingly, Terry didn't love Broadway music. I mean, she wasn't like, it wasn't on repeat, but she loved Stephen Sondheim, so thank you, Dan. Our next speaker, or our first speaker, I guess, unless you count me, is a longtime client of Terry's, an actress and a painter who moved Terry in so many different ways, especially toward the end of her life. Are you ready to come
Yes,
up, Mark?
yes.
Okay.
I'm in the eye.
Okay.
I'm in the wings.
Okay. So please welcome Marcia Haufrecht to the stage.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, we're gonna do this part without the mic. Yes, I'm Marcia, and I work with Terry for many years. Okay. I didn't trust myself to be spontaneous, so I wrote something out for myself. And requested, let me just see, I don't know if I can get this up higher. Can we get it up higher? Or do we need it up higher? This, a long time ago, a number of years ago, I wanted to, whoops, will it stay there? Okay. Yeah, no, that's too. Yeah, okay. I saw a photo of Terry and Coco, and I loved the photo so much, I wanted to paint it. So I painted it. Okay.
Are you gonna say one?
Huh?
You still want to sing?
After.
Oh, okay.
Meeting Terry, I gotta read it, I'm sorry. Meeting Terry in my later years gave me a new lease on life. She specialized in young actors, but 25 plus years ago, she saw in me, a woman in her 60s, an actress worthy of work. She was the first person in the business who believed in me, and so she took me on as my manager, and boy, did I need one. She helped me gain confidence and supported me in my quest for recognition and a stage for my art. She didn't always tell me what I wanted to hear, but she always told me what I needed to hear. I took her class for a good number of years and always looked forward to them. She created an atmosphere of fun, encouragement, with positive and truthful feedback. I cared for and still care for, I'd say, almost everyone I met there. I continued the class until I felt I couldn't do another another audition monologue. I continued working with Terry as my manager until beyond her passing. 2 weeks before she died, she had arranged for me to do a self-tape for a lead role in a wonderful independent feature film. It was a dream of a role for me. A week after she passed, I was hired for the role. In addition to being my caring manager, she was a good and loving friend. I was fortunate to be able to enjoy her company with our dogs, Bambi, that's mine, and Coco in our Hell's Kitchen neighborhood, as well as in her beloved and beautiful Ocean Grove. I'm very grateful for all the time I spent with her. Thank you, Terry. Now, how do we lower this? Because I'm going to need it to sing. I'm not a singer, but Terry always requested that I sing this song. Yeah, that's good. I think that's good. Is that good? Yes. Okay. That I sing this song every Christmas. So I did. Something cool. I'd like to order something cool. It's so warm here in town, and the heat gets me down. Yes, I'd like something cool. Gee, it's nice to simply sit and rest a while. Now I know it's a shame I can't think of your name. I remember your smile. I don't ordinarily drink with strangers. I most usually drink alone. But you were so awfully nice to ask me, and I'm so terribly far from home. Like my dress, I must admit it's very old, but it's simple, it's neat, it's just right for the heat. A cigarette? Well, I don't smoke them as a rule, but I'll have one. It might be fun with something cool.
Sing Mama a Rainbow in her office and for all services. For so many of us, Terry was far more than a manager. She really was family. Because I started working with Terry when I was so young, I really don't remember a time of my life without her in it. She came to my bar mitzvah. She came out to Los Angeles to help me get settled when I was a teenager. She was a tremendous coach, spiritual guy. And hi everyone, Raviv Ullman here. Grateful to be a part of today. I met Terry when I was 8 years old. I think she made me sing Mama a Rainbow in her office, and we were off to the races. For so many of us, Terry was far more than a manager. She really was family. because I started working with Terry when I was so young, I really don't remember a time of my life without her in it. She came to my bar mitzvah. She came out to Los Angeles to help me get settled when I moved here as a teenager. She was a true mentor, a coach, a spiritual guide, and a truth teller. Because she was so deeply entwined in all of our lives, it's hard to decouple my life trajectory from Terry's presence. You know, many of my friends I know because of her, whether because she introduced me directly or because she fought for me to get a job that led me on a path to meet such wonderful people my entire life. Terry loved bringing people together, whether it was her legendary classes, getting her clients together to eat in a diner, bringing friends to see friends in shows. She championed not just our careers, but our happiness. And for that, I will always, always be very grateful. I'm really devastated that I can't be there today with you all in person. She would have been so happy that this is how we chose to celebrate her life. You know, it's been 30 years since I walked into her office, and the fact that I still work in theater and I do what I love is truly, undoubtedly because of her. She taught me to fight for what I believe in, to work hard, always put my best foot forward, and to celebrate and champion the community that I reside in. In Judaism, there's a saying when people die, Zichrona Livracha, may their memory be a blessing. And I am absolutely blessed by Terry's memory. Every day that I wake up and get to be a storyteller, I am keenly aware of the blessings to have been a part of Terry's life and for her to have been a part of mine. So thank you to Danny for organizing this. I miss you, Terry. You'll always be a part of me and everything that I do.
I did want to tell a quick story. Those Christmas parties, which were epic, and took place in a, I guess for a while they took place in her office, and then they got so big that we couldn't really do it in there, so we took it to Ripley Greer. Am I remembering that right? And the one, I think, thing that I did take advantage of Terry with is that when she told me, you have to sing a song, I said, no fucking way. So I never had to sing, and I do feel a little guilty about that, but I'm over it. Anyway, so coming up next is someone who is really a part more of Terry's life a little bit later on. He worked with her as a partner and as a fellow manager and agent, and through the years, and guided her in many ways and helped her in many ways, and was there with her till the end. Please welcome David Krasner.
Hi. I did that really smart thing that you're supposed to do where I didn't prepare anything. So we're just going to see where this goes. I was a talent agent for many years prior to meeting Terry. I had dealt with a lot of personal trauma and pain, as Terry certainly did throughout her life. And I basically was at a place in my career where you really can't see anything here. It's interesting. And I met Terry when I was questioning everything, where I didn't know my place in this industry. And she's someone who, she saw a kindred spirit in me, and I in her, and she basically, said, why don't you just come work for me. Why don't you see what it's like being in a manager's office? We're not gonna like define it. We're just gonna let it be an organic thing. And at that time, I was just kind of covering for her former assistant, or current assistant at the time, Joe, who had gotten very sick herself and basically was no longer available to help. So, and it did seem like maybe Joe was going to get better, and I would just be there for a little bit of time, but that's not how things went. And you know, we lost Joe, and it's very sad. She's someone who I think championed a lot of actors alongside Terry. And Terry planned and was very involved in Joe's memorial. And I remember this distinctly. She had some of her young, 4 of her young clients, you know, who were like 10, 11, 12, sang a song at Joe's memorial. And I had never seen an agent or a manager take that kind of initiative and that kind of care that went beyond just representing the actor as an actor. It was that she saw people as humans and as artists, and she found a way to connect love into an industry that's sorely lacking. And I mean, I think we could all agree that in some ways it was maybe too much sometimes. It was like an overwhelming intensity that Terry possessed. But I think maybe that's better than the opposite. I'm so grateful for the time I spent working with her, for all the people that she introduced me to, for the way she opened my heart and my mind. She, from day one, reminded me of my grandmother, who had run a shop in Baltimore, and you know, all on her own. A lot of people thought that she was difficult and, you know, whatever, and she said what she wanted to say and she did what she wanted to do, but she made an impact on a lot of people's lives. I guess on that note, I'm just really glad to be here, and thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Danny,
Yeah.
Marcia needs her coat.
Oh, sorry.
Of course.
Very formal. I feel like we've gone too long into the program, though, without mentioning Dan, who we lost 26 years ago in July, and how, you know, if you saw the pictures up, you know how important Dan was, and I think he would be really happy with this today. It was similar to what we did for him too, and I think it was, you know, the right way to celebrate them both. So just wanted to throw that out there, because Dan is somebody I miss every day too. So when Terry was, say it like it is, dying, she knew that she was going to have to give up Coco. And she made a very measured decision that didn't involve any hemming and hawing. She just said, you know what? I know it's Ciro, and you can't convince me otherwise. So, since Coco has moved into Ciro and Steve's home, we are on a chain now where it's just wonderful to see how Coco's being taken care of, and just couldn't have asked for a more loving family for her to be a part of. I'm sorry Steve's not here today. He had an emergency with work, but I know both of them have just been so great, and the pictures of the doggy cruises and the doggy weekends and the doggy I mean, it's great. I mean that sincerely. I'm glad. I feel like I am still a part of Coco's life, although today's the first time I'm seeing her in 6 months. She was a little cold to me, so maybe we'll rectify that later. But Ciro was also a wonderful client, and friend of Terry's for years and years and years, and I think they lost touch for a little bit of time, but they reconnected at the end in a really, I think, just genuine and wonderful way. And also, when I was putting together this program, I realized, wow, there's gonna be a lot of sad stuff. So I asked Ciro, I said, can you give us a little razzle dazzle? And Ciro said, not only will I give you some razzle dazzle, I'm actually going to sing razzle dazzle. So please welcome Ciro Barber.
We edit this in the tape. So, I met Terry in the early 80s, and in what I might like to call, she was doing the earlier show, which was at Once Upon a Stove in the legendary Valentine Room. Terry was an amazing marketer. She had such acumen in this area. Everyone knew about this show. Everyone. The buzz was all over New York City. Sue Simmons at Live at 5, and everybody liked her, if anyone remembers her. And so it was incredible. It was mobbed every day. I was part of the show. I did a few different things. I sang a little. I worked the lights, and it was crazy trying to fit, 150 people into a room that fit maybe 70. But we did it, and it was great. So I think this song was in the show. Give him the old razzle-dazzle, razzle-dazzle him. Give him an act with so much flash in it, and the reaction will be passionate. Give them the old hocus-pocus, bead and feather 'em. How can they see with sequins in their eyes? What if your hinges all are rusting? What if, in fact, you're just disgusting? Razzle-dazzle 'em, and they'll never catch wise. Give 'em the old razzle-dazzle, razzle-dazzle 'em. Give 'em a show that's so splendiferous, row after row will grow vociferous. Give 'em the old flim-flam flummox, fool and fracture 'em. How can they see with sequins in their eyes? What if your hinges all are rusting? What if in fact you are disgusting? Razzle-dazzle them, and you'll never catch wise. Give 'em the old razzle-dazzle, razzle-dazzle 'em. Back since the days of old Methuselah, everyone loves the big bamboozler. Give 'em the old three-ring circus, stun and stagger 'em. When you're in trouble, go into your debts. Oh, wait a minute. Go into your debts. Though you are stiffer than a girder, they'll let you get away with murder like I'm doing. Razzle-dazzle 'em. Razzle-dazzle, razzle-dazzle 'em. Give 'em an act that's... No, I forgot the whole thing. Give 'em the act that's unassailable, and they'll wait a year till you're available. Give 'em the old double whammy, days and dizzy 'em. Show 'em the first-rate sorcerer you are. Long as you keep 'em way off balance, they'll never no talent. Razzle dazzle 'em, razzle dazzle 'em, and they'll make you a star. Oh, my brain. You should have been here in rehearsal. Anyway, I'd like to bring up a special guest. Say hello to Miss Coco. She'll be available for photo ops after the show. And you can see her on the Coco Chronicles on Facebook. Thank you very much.
Another hand for Ciro, please. Ciro Barbara. I can attest he remembered every word in rehearsal. It was perfect. So I want to let everybody know that he wasn't just saying that. It actually happened.
It was adorable.
One of the things that was also important to me was to not just represent and make this a nostalgia fest, and I think that that's beautiful and brilliant and wonderful and valid, but I also wanted to sort of show that Terry was vibrant and active until the end. She championed people that she believed in and made friendships with her clients that she believed in. She was increasingly cynical about the business, but never cynical about the people that she cared about. And that to me was the fundamental difference. And one of those clients is here today to speak about Terry's sort of later influence on people's lives. This is Danielle Rose Russell.
Ooh, she's right. Hello. I also didn't trust myself to be spontaneous, so I wrote a whole little speech on my phone. But my God, thank you, Danny. This is so, so special to be here celebrating Terry. But my story with Terry began on a snowy day in 2009 when my mom sent out a handful of 4x6 photos to random managers whose labels she got from the drama bookstore. And Terry was one of the first who responded. So at the tender age of 9, I walked into her office. I did a cold read for a milk commercial. She loved that commercial. And signed with her right then and there. Over the 14 years that we worked together, Terry and I saw a lot of success. But our relationship became so much more than that. For almost a decade and a half, Terry supported me through the many ups and downs of this crazy career, but also through personal hardship, from being an outlet through a nasty divorce or a mediator when my mom and I would fight, just being one of my biggest champions when rejection would get me down. Terry was my rock through it all. She called herself my second honorary mother, and in many ways she really was. Terry was not just my manager. She was my mentor, my friend, and my beacon of unwavering support. One of Terry's greatest gifts was being able to see the potential in others and nurture it with love and inspiration. Sorry, I'm gonna cry a lot. She had a way of making everybody feel cherished and loved. She lived her life fully, authentically, and with an infectious taste for life. How Terry navigated her last years through the hardship of illness was unlike anything I've ever witnessed. Her remarkable ability to find the meaning in such an unfair situation, to navigate it with such grace and composure, is something that I feel profound admiration for. This is a lesson in strength and resilience I think we can all learn from. Terry's legacy will continue to live on, not just in the careers that she made, but in the lives that she touched and in the hearts that she inspired. So as we gather with heavy hearts, but grateful spirits to honor this incredible woman who touched so many lives, I encourage all of us to reflect upon the profound impact that Terry had, that we may celebrate her legacy by embodying the authenticity and resilience that she did. So, to Terry, I say thank you for your love, your inspiration, your enduring presence in our lives. Though you may no longer walk here with us, your memory is a blessing to all of us, and your light will forever shine in our hearts.
Hi, I'm Randy Quartz. I was the musical director for the early show for quite a while, and also had the privilege of having Terry Saperstein for a friend. Terry had this gift of helping people to see themselves in their best light, and for making people feel good about themselves. A little story, and also a confessional. When we were kids, I was out in Colorado visiting my family. Terry came out to visit my family that time, and our last day there, she told me that she would like to go fly fishing. So I took her up into the Weminuche Wilderness area, which is an amazingly beautiful place. It was a gorgeous day. She was just joyous. It was so beautiful out, and she kept up with me as I ran up and down the hills and finally came to this trout stream. I handed her a fly rod, and she looks at me and she says, maybe not. And she just said she wanted to watch me fish. So I said, okay. I threw a line in the water, and I immediately caught a brook trout. She thought that was incredible. So I threw another line in, and I caught another one, and then another one, and then another one, and this went on for about 20 minutes. And she was just, oh my God, you're such an incredible fisherman. Oh, and you know, I'd said nothing to dissuade her of this lie. But Terry, it was a lie. We just happened to come up on a trout stream on a day when the fish were spawning. And you could throw a rock in the water when the fish are spawning, and they will eat that. So I'm not a good fisherman, but you made me feel like one. You made me feel like a good musician and a good composer and a good friend, and you just helped me to see myself in my best light. And I will forever be grateful for that. I love you, Terry, and I miss you. And I will see you in the great trout stream in the sky.
I gotta be honest, it's very hard for me to picture Terry asking him to go fly fishing. Learn something new every day. The next person is someone I've known longer than Terry. One of the things that made my relationship with Terry so special was how wonderful her and Dan's relationship was with my parents. My parents somehow guided me through, show business. I actually have friends now in Seattle. I mean, friends, but they will ask me, sometimes. They literally say things like, "So, was it terrible when you were a child actor? Did you like it?" I was like, "No. I mean, I have nothing but good memories. I got screwed up after that." But my parents were instrumental in that, and their relationship with Dan and Terry was special. And especially towards the end, they were able to sort of rekindle some of that magic that I think was, and my mother in particular, was beyond anything that I could have hoped for while I was in Seattle, and I needed as many people as I could to help in ways that maybe I just couldn't on a daily basis. So this is a long way of saying thank you, Mom, I love you, and she's going to talk about Terry now.
is a long time, yet not long enough. Who knew that on that day in 1983, our lives would change forever? Who knew that on that day in 1983, I would meet one of my dearest and most loyal friends? Picture this, Dan Annie and Terry Saperstein sitting facing desks in their small office on 53rd and Broadway, with 8x10 head shops, all adorning the walls. In walks a family from the suburbs, who never dreamed they'd ever end up in a place like this. Then a 6-year-old takes a cigar holder from the man's desk and belts out Nice and Easy, Sinatra's version. The family leaves thinking the reception was lukewarm at most. A ploy on their part, I learned later. The woman, Terry, calls the next day, and so it began. But this is not a tale of show business. This is a tale of friendship. Deep, loyal, fun-loving, and enduring friendship. Terry and Dan grew to be our dearest friends. We shared their wedding, the purchase of their condo across from the ocean, the highs and lows of Danny's career, and eventually, sadly, their illnesses and everything in between. I trusted Dan and Terry. I trusted Terry. Dan did the adults, but Dan was always a part of that, with Danny's career decisions and with taking care of him when I couldn't be there. We didn't need a contract. Our contract was sealed with love. There were good times in New York, in Los Angeles, in Ocean Grove, and anywhere else we went together. There were games like Everything Bad is Good, and lots of laugh. And there was Terry, always there to talk to confide in, and discuss anything from show business to mothers, hers and mine, to career changes, mine. Terry, a force in our lives and a woman of honesty and strength. Terry, a woman who endured pain on a daily basis and pushed through and persevered with the help of her last and loyal companion, Coco. When Terry was diagnosed with a terminal illness, she was determined to deal with it on her own terms, and she did. Yes, there were rough moments, but love and our history carried us through them. I miss you, Terry. I want to text you and tell you how brave you were and how happy Coco is. I want to call you and complain about the insignificant problems in my life. I want to have dinner at Westside Cottage or go shopping in Ocean Grove. But I can't. I can only call on my memories of a woman who changed my life and loved me, Danny, and Jessica unconditionally. Wherever you are, I hope you're as happy as the day you swam with the dolphins. In August, you inscribed on the necklace you gave me for my birthday, "You are eternally in my heart." Right back at you, dear friend.
Does anyone else want to MC the rest of this thing? I want to get a few thank yous out of the way. First of all, I want to thank my sister Jessica and my best friend Chris Cubetto, who have helped so much with this process. I know everybody's saying how, it was great that we put this together, but I couldn't have done it without them, and so you can clap for them. I want to thank my wife, Mary, who can't be here today, and called me this morning and said, how sad she was. Our dog got kidney failure last week. It's a long story, but she's okay now. She's okay now. But for being sort of my emotional support while I was 3,000 miles away and supporting every time I had to get up and go, I'm going to see Terry again. She's like, well, you just saw Terry. I said, gotta go again. Gotta go see Terry. So I wanted to just get those things, make sure I didn't forget them, because sometimes in the course of this. You forget those things. So another staple of those Christmas parties was longtime client and friend Andre Montgomery, who sang a song called Black Balloons, like every year, because Terry loved it in the same way with Marsha and So Cool, and it became part of what, like if Black Balloons didn't happen, it wasn't the Christmas party. And the message, which if you don't know the song, I won't spoil it for you because Andre does a great job of sort of putting it forth. And so when I was putting this together, I was like, we have to have this song that Terry loved. And actually the last time I saw Andre sing it was the year that Joe passed. And it was very emotional and moving, and I just knew that it was right for this moment. Andre can tell you his own story with Terry for years and years and years and years, and like I've known Andre probably since I was 7 or something. So please give it up for Andre Montgomery.
Yeah, Terry always introduced me as her oldest client. No, I am. No, anyway, I was Terry's client for 36 years. And in that 36 years and all the work I did, I never took a contract home. She and Dan kept all my contracts. I never knew what my contract said. I would just sign them and give them to Terry. And this song was from a show, a reading of an off-Broadway show I did called No More Black Balloons. And at the time in the 80s, there was this thing where something negative happened to someone, you would send them black roses, right? This musical was about, instead of black roses, they would send black balloons. But the person whose story it was about got sick and decided they didn't need to put negative energy out into the world again. This is actually a song I sing to myself all the time because it helps me get through the day sometimes. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's do this one again. Gray skies, goodbye, time to fly away. And I'm gonna leave behind my uneasy mind and find a brighter day. So long, sad songs, I've learned it's wrong to cry, and ain't gonna waste my years with these foolish tears. They'll wait until I die, and I don't need no more black balloons. I'd rather dance beneath the moon, and I'll celebrate before it gets too late. You know the sun will send his trouble soon, so bring me no more black balloons. I can't hide, or I've tried, but deep inside I know a shadow lies within. It knows just where I've been, and it knows just where I'll go. Oh, no lies, 'cause my eyes, they can't disguise the pain. No, but you know I'm gonna work it through. Might be hard to do, but laughter will fall like rain. And I don't need no more black balloons. I'd rather dance beneath the moon, and I'll celebrate before it gets too late. You know the sun will send its trouble soon, so just bring me no more black balloons. I wanna see the flowers reaching up to the sky. I wanna climb that mountain, or at least I'll try. I wanna come to know what my life's really worth. I wanna feel the grass just going under my feet. I wanna stop and talk with the people I meet. I wanna share what makes me a part of this earth. I've been burned, but I've learned that now my turn has come. never looking back. I'm gonna stay on track to see what I'll become. And I don't need no more black balloons, no, no. I'd rather dance beneath the moon, and I will celebrate before it gets too late, too late. The sun, it will send its trouble soon. So just bring on me no more black balloons. You know the sun is gonna send its trouble soon. So bring me no more black balloons. For you, Terry.
Hey everyone, my name is Adam Chandler Barat, and I have the great privilege of being Terry's client and surrogate son since I was 16 years old. I'm just going to read something that I wrote. I met Terry through the wonderful Celeste Simone. Celeste had been my voice teacher growing up and mentioned that when I was ready, she'd have me meet with Terry. This meeting took on mythic proportions in my imagination until finally this meeting took place. It was at the iconic New Yorker Hotel. I almost puked in the elevator, I was so nervous. My mom waited in the hallway and I went in and sang Mr. Cellophane, naturally, and the rest is history. Terry's faith in my artistry was infectious, believing in me and my success even when I didn't believe in myself. She made me feel seen. She tried to make me feel heard. She fought for me and with my mom. Plain and simple, I would not have the beautiful, full, hard-won career and life that I have today had I not sang that age-inappropriate song for Terry that afternoon in her New Yorker hotel office. Terry was not afraid of death. Her journey taught her that death is part of life, and she faced it with her signature blend of curiosity and grit and contrarianism and courage. In one of our last conversations, she told me to keep at my writing, which is a newer expansion of my artistry. This echoes in my head every time I look dauntingly at a blank page, and I hope I never stop hearing her voice in my head. My time with Terry ushered in my adulthood. She is synonymous with my independence, with my power as an artist, with New York City. I'll think of her every time I look at the New Yorker Hotel. Terry may be gone, but she'll always be a building in the skyline of my mind. Thank you, and thanks to Danny for organizing this beautiful event. I wish I could be there.
So in honor of never singing at those Christmas parties. I don't know, this is one thing that I talk to people about, like usually I bring things up about Terry, they're like, yeah. One thing is, Terry's favorite movie as a kid was The Five Pennies, which was a Danny Kaye, and Louis Armstrong I think is in the movie too. And she showed it to me when I was like 10 years old at that apartment at 23rd Street where I stayed overnight dozens of times. And Terry used to make fun of me because if there was police action on the downstairs, like we were on the 30th floor, I would get nervous, and she kind of laughed at me, and I was like, wow. I was a little bit of a paranoid child. But it stuck with me because it's such a, it's Danny Kaye, and it's like at the time I don't think I appreciated it, like just as her sharing her nostalgia with me. But now I do, and so, Terry, I'm gonna sing now. It's just the worst. All right, let's get this over with. This little penny is to wish on and make your wishes come true. This little penny is to dream on, dream of all you can do. This little penny is a dancing penny. See how it glitters and it glows. Bright as a whistle, light as a thistle, quick as a wick upon its twinkling toes. This little penny is to laugh on, to see the tears never fall. And this little penny is the last little penny, most important of all. For this little penny is to love on, and where love is, heaven is there. So with just 5 pennies, there's these 5 pennies, you'll be a millionaire. And this little penny is to love on, and where love is, heaven is there. So with just 5 pennies, if they're these 5 pennies, you'll be a billionaire.
Terry was my very first manager, and actually me doing the early show with her for so many years really taught me so much when it came to being a young person in show business. And it's unfortunate that she's no longer physically here with us, but she will always be in our hearts. Terry played a huge part in a lot of my friends' lives, and I'm sure many of you as well. But she will never be forgotten, and her spirit will live on. Stay blessed. Terry was my
Hi everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mickey, and I was a member of the early show in the 80s. I tried to find my bedazzled early show shirt with my name on it, which I still have, but since I moved recently, that was a very difficult task. Anyway, I'm not an actor anymore and hate watching myself on video, so no judgment here. I did write a few things down because I didn't feel like I could wing it. They say that having children steals your memories, so I wish I could fill this video with anecdotes about my times with Terry, but unfortunately that is just not the case. I blame my children. What remains with me about Terry is her indelible handprint on my life. I was your typical New York City actor kid, extremely independent and headstrong. But unlike most, I did not have a stage mother. I had a stage father. In some ways, Terry became my stage mother and steered me through adolescence and young adulthood. She guided many of my decisions and supported me in a way that I just didn't have in my life. When I told her I was going to go off to college instead of continuing on in the business, she told me, "Yeah, you're much too smart for this life." From our days in the basement at Once Upon a Stove, to Don't Tell Mama, River West, the Dinner Club in Burlington, Vermont, and countless other places in the city, to our big-time movie Starlight in the Berkshires, Terry filled my childhood with beautiful music and gave me some of my most treasured memories of friendship mostly, and also show business. I don't know what I would have been in my teen years without those people in my life. She put up with a lot of our antics and a lot of rebellion and somehow managed to keep all our precious egos and dreams in check. We were incredibly lucky that in the midst of COVID in April 2020, at Terry's urging, we had a beautiful Zoom reunion where everyone caught up with each other, and we even sang a bit. And you could just tell that it lifted Terry's spirits to know the permanent impact she had on all our lives. We truly were a family. I can't thank her enough for being a part of mine and filling my childhood with so many incredible opportunities that I would not have had without her. I'd like to leave you all with words Terry wrote on our early show Facebook page, which I think she would want memorialized today as part of her legacy. The early show was a mirror to life. Some folks lost their way along life's journey. Some lost their lives. Some did become celebrities. Some made huge and successful businesses and careers. I'm so honored and privileged to have witnessed and contributed to the fine people they are today. More important is I'm touched and humbled by the deep connection we have with each other. It is a very special and forever bond. And I can attest to feeling that even though I'm not there today, and even though the songs will happen without me, I am a part of it forever. We love you too.
Did any of you see Starlight?
Yes.
It's a good thing there was no Rotten Tomatoes back then. The next person to come up and speak is one of Terry's oldest, dearest, most important, most compassionate, most incredible friends. She was also her doctor. And she just, I don't know what Terry would have done without her, the way that she gave of herself selflessly over and over and over again. She's always been like that, but just magnified for the last, 15 months of Terry's life. Just an incredible woman, Susan Grossman.
All right, so I'm going to read my notes. I met Terry 51 years ago when I was 20 years old. Well, I didn't expect this. And we became instant friends. So I can truthfully say Terry has been one of my life partners my entire adult life. Over these long years, we shared so many good and bad things, and words are inadequate to explain the connectedness that we had. There were so many things I loved about Terry, and so many things that were sort of hard to deal with. And often, they were the same thing. Some of the most difficult things were the ones I loved the most, and I missed the most. Terry was very honest and straightforward. She didn't pull punches. She would just tell things the way she saw them. Things she told me were very difficult to hear, but often the most useful. One I remember happened in the year 2000 when Julie, a friend of ours, Terry and I went down to Florida to visit another friend of ours, Mildred. At some point, Terry started telling us the story of what happened when her husband Dan died, and how alone she felt then, and how much I had let her down at that time. And her description of how she felt, how alone she was, how painful, and how abandoned she felt from me was really hard to hear. But for some reason, maybe because she was just speaking so much from her heart and not judging me or being judgmental, but just sort of telling the story of what happened when Dan died, it was so impactful and became one of the most important things I ever heard in my life, and actually deepened our friendship. It's hard to imagine that someone could even talk about something that was so raw and so painful, and to the person who she was telling had been the cause of a lot of the pain. But that was one thing about Terry. She would speak her truth. I didn't always agree with it or like it, but I knew I could count on her. Terry was not easy to help. She had her own mind, and she did things her own way. She often would present herself as not knowing what to do or how to do something, which was extreme bullshit. She was one of the most competent and effective people I have ever known. Here's an example. In 1980, I went with my friend George Canada to visit Terry in Rhode Island with another friend, Joan. And we met Dan Nanny for the first time. The next day, Terry said, "What do you think? Should I go out with this guy?" I said, "I don't think so." "He looks kind of mean. He looks like trouble." Well, you all know Terry didn't listen to me. She knew better, and she did. Later, when she had so many medical issues, she would tell me, "I can't deal with this." Whatever it was. What should I do? I would tell her what I thought she would do, but she often wouldn't listen. Or she said, "I can't do this. I just can't do this." I would say, "Don't worry, Terry, I'll do it. Don't worry about it, I'll take care of it." And then I would start trying to take care of it. Later I would call Terry and find out she had already taken care of it. She knew what she wanted, she would do it, and she could. In 2004, I came home with our daughter Nina from Kazakhstan, and we asked Terry to be her godmother. After all, Nina was named after Dan. His last name was Nanny, and we arranged it to Nina. As Nina grew, Terry and Nina became very close. Terry could tell Nina things and speak to her about things that Nina would not talk about with her parents. Almost always they were so useful and so wise. A few years ago, Nina was having a medical problem, and I kept telling her, "Nina, you gotta go to the doctor, you gotta go." "No, Mom, no." Then Terry told her, "Nina, you have to go to the doctor." And amazingly, she did, and we were able to take care of the issue. And Nina loved spending time with Terry and with Coco. And when she was going through some of that normal teenage parent irritation, the three of us could hang out together and be able to be with each other in ways we couldn't do alone. Terry was one of the few people I didn't have a practical reason to be with. She wasn't a blood relative, a work partner. Except for a few years early in our relationship and a little bit later on, we didn't live together. We were just friends. We would hang out, watch movies or TV shows together, walk on the boardwalk, eat out, go on outings, do frivolous things that I don't usually do with people. Just two women, our only purpose being to enjoy our time together, be with each other for pleasure, and love each other unconditionally. I don't have anyone else in my life quite like that, and I will always cherish and miss Terry for that.
Thank you, Susan. A couple more thank yous. I want to thank the Stephen, Kathy, and David. Stephen was instrumental in putting together the slideshow you may have seen before, and the putting together all the photos. I mean, Stephen has done so much of the legwork for this. I was like, I'll take the memorial. You can do that. That looks a lot harder. So thank you, Stephen. Okay, our next performer is doing a song that I believe I sang with her, and today I said, well, maybe I'll sing part of it with you, and she came into rehearsal and just like dominated it, and I was like, there's no way I'm singing that with you. So this is Kimberly Stern Guggenheim.
Terry when I was 7 years old. I
have a 7-year-old daughter now, which is crazy. Wow, you get up here and you don't realize that you're gonna get filled with so much emotion.
We got you.
Okay, thanks. You know, Terry, I wasn't a client of Terry's, but she welcomed me into the early show. And being a part of the early show really was a magical experience. Every week, we would come right here and we'd hang out and we'd practice a little and then we'd do a show. And I was just saying to Anthony, you know, we were schooled there. I mean, we learned from each other so much, not just about music and musicality and different styles of singing and different ways of performing on stage, but we also learned about each other and about trusting each other and being on stage together and creating, you know, a real bond and a real family. And you know, I think everyone who's come up has talked about how Terry has sort of taken them on in a sort of mothering role. And I thought when you told us the date of the memorial, I thought how appropriate it was the day after Mother's Day. And she really did take on a sort of second mother position for a lot of us at different times. In the early show, she really made each one of us feel like a star. There was no star of the show. It was like each person had their moment. We all felt special. And we all had a feeling that we were loved and that we were supported. And this song was one of the songs we sang, and I think we did sing it together for sure. And I'll sing a little bit of it, so let's go. Perhaps love is like a resting place, a shelter from the storm. It exists to give you comfort. It is there to keep you warm. And in your times of trouble, when you are most alone, your memories of love will bring you home. Perhaps love is like a window, perhaps an open door. It invites you to come closer. It wants to show you more. And even if you lose yourself and don't know what to do, your memories of love will see you through. Oh, love to some is like a cloud, to some is strong as steel. For some, a way of living, for some, a way to feel. And some say love is holding on, and some say letting go. And some say love is everything, and some say they don't know. Perhaps love is like the ocean, full of conflict, full of pain. Like a fire when it's cold outside, or thunder when it rains. If I should live forever and all my dreams come true, my memories of love will be of you. Oh, love to some is like a cloud, to some is strong as steel. For some, a way of living, for some, a way to feel. And some say love is holding on, and some say letting go. And some say love is everything, and some say they don't know. Perhaps love is
is like the ocean, full of conflict, full of pain. Like a fire when it's cold outside, or thunder when it rains. If I should live forever and all my dreams come true, my memories of love will be of you. My memories of love will be of you.
One of the great joys of my later relationship with Terry was the chance to get to know Alan. It's no overstatement to say that Terry wouldn't have gotten through 15 months without Alan. He called her every day, usually multiple times, and they had that brother and sister rapport, like, he'd say something, she'd say something, he'd say, well, what the hell you want to do about it? I don't know, Alan. Leave me alone, Alan. And then he'd call, an hour later and say, you okay now? Or, but getting to know Alan and seeing their relationship, and I'm very close to my own sister, so it felt genuine in ways that, just like with my sister, fights, but love, and fighting through all that, and very different people, but somehow the same. And Alan just was there for all of the minutia and the big stuff and the everything. And I'm proud to now call him my friend because I barely knew Alan growing up. So I don't want to say anything else, Alan.
I hadn't heard 5 pennies in so long, I thought I was greater than ever. Thank you, and thank you for this wonderful presentation and commemoration. I'm going to take you back about 65 years. When I was about 15, and Terry was not yet into double figures, she and I, or maybe she and our mother, or maybe all three of us, had a huge fight, which did not go Terry's way. Frustrated, she packed a little bag. I never did find out what she put in it. Still have no idea what an 8-year-old deems necessary for survival. And then slamming the door behind her, she announced she was leaving home. We lived in a basement apartment looking out onto the sidewalk from a window I knew she would have to pass. So quickly I made a sign that read, "Room for rent," protected in the window. A few minutes later, the prodigal sister returned home, sobbing to think her place in our lives was so transactional. Now, of course, that room is permanently empty. All the madness, the crazy love, the brother-sister shorthand, the ups and downs, the quests, the groaning board of dishes that linger forever on the tongue, the songs, the phone calls, the pets, the movies, the shows, the good relatives and the bad ones, the Larry David moments, the private jokes, the beaches, the games, the restaurants, the hospital rooms, hotel rooms, photos, texts, theaters, holidays, slot machines. The all too speedy nearly 3/4 of a century of playing, working, traveling, giggling, ribbing, squabbling, singing, loving, losing, commiserating, and DNA sharing and caring, all are now whispered memories in that empty room. But they are not sad. They are light and multitudinous. On July 28, 2003, I began keeping a diary. I checked. There are more entries for the name Terry than anyone else. 5,804 to be exact. Not all of them were high notes. We forgave and forgot as soon as we knew. But I always tried to be her big brother in a family that lost its father when Terry was only 3. I believe she looked up to me and sought my approval, and I know she wanted me to recognize how far she had come from the day she was brought home. Montaigne said you can only judge a person after he or she has died, for only then do you have the completed record of the life led. In Terry's case, this is particularly poignant because she saved the best for last. I'm the only one left who knew her from her wrinkled, red-faced, white-haired beginning, crabby and overwhelmed, tiny limbs that trembled in her scary crib, to the astonishingly serene woman in full who closed her eyes of her own volition and most courageously embraced the unknown. I told her she was my hero. She said, "Finally." My baby sister's great success in life, in the business, and in personal relationships have filled this room with wonderful expressions of love and community, and I thank you all for that. One last thing, I contacted the Tony Awards show and tried to get them to have a memory thing when they do their broadcast. They guaranteed me that she would definitely be in the online listings, but the decision about who makes it to the June broadcast was 2 people's. If anybody has any sway, thank you all.
The program says additional sentiments. Unless someone really, really wants to speak, we may have, I think we're running a little over.
You think?
So I think we're going to move on. Unless anybody has any true objections, we're going to move on to the final song. Is that okay?
Yes.
Sure. Thank you.
Motion carried.
So this is, we're all going to, all the early show people can come on our, this is a song that we did in the show. I don't know if it closed the show. Did it close the show? I think it closed. Okay, it did close the show. And I think perfectly encapsulates why we're all here today. This is Anthony Barone, who was, I think he was saying that when we were doing the show, he was the oldest and I was the youngest.
Yeah.
Now we're just,
still am.
now we're just, well, now we're just both old. So I'm gonna give the mic over to him.
Everyone, again, I want to thank you, Danny. This is incredible and deserving tribute. Please, Danae.
I was early show too.
Danae is early
I was early show too. Woo!
Terry signed me when I was 15 years old. And I'm about to be 58, so you know the one word that comes to mind after hearing all these beautiful tributes from everyone is the word impact. She made such an impact on us all. And Mickey said it. Those of us that were in the early show were truly blessed. We're still in touch with each other this many 43 years later. And it's because of one woman, and that's Terry. That's the reason we're all here today, and I know she's here with us.
And I remember back in 1982, she said, "Anthony, I found the perfect song for you. You're gonna close the show with it." And I heard it and I was like, "Oh, this is just beautiful." And it was playing down the block at the Imperial Theater, and the songwriters came in from Dreamgirls, and I had to sing the song to them, and it was just, I'll never forget it. And every time we've had any kind of reunion, any kind of loss, the Zoom call that Mickey mentioned, Terry said, "Sing my song." So Terry, I'm gonna sing your song. From all of us to you, we are a family. It's more than you, it is more than me. Whatever dreams we had, they're for the family. We're not alone anymore, now there are others there. And that dream's big enough for all of us to share. So don't think you're going, you're not going anywhere. You're staying and taking your share. And if you get afraid again, I'll be there. We are a family, like a giant tree, reaching out to the sky. We are a family, we are so much more than just you and I. We are a family, like a giant tree, growing stronger, growing wiser, and we are growing free. We need you. Terry, we love you. This is for you. We are a family.
Thank you everyone for coming out. Thanks to Coco for being such a good dog. And oh, I'm so sorry. And Ian, thank you so much. I'm so sorry. Ian Herman. I'm sorry, Ian. Thank you so much. We love all of you, and we're so glad you were here. And that's it.
Thank you, folks.